Alright, Title 49, Chapter 10, November 1st, 2018 edition, Part 1201, Surface Transportation Board, Railroad Companies, Income Accounts, Ordinary Items, 501, Railway Operating Revenue Account with Summarization, Railway Operating Revenue Accounts, 101 to 122, exclude the transfer governmental authority except for the transfer payment with the specific service transportation property, person, rail line, other combined computer operation, local rail service besides the general granted authority of the Railroad Revitalization Regulatory Reform Act 1976, Instruction 115A and E. Alright, testing. Alright, 502, Railway Operating Revenue Transfer the Government Authority of the current operation account should include the amount of the receive of the federal, state, and municipal authorities which are specifically designated to offset the operating expense which may be appropriated to the traditional railroad operating expense and or operating or railroad property. This account should also include amounts received by the government authorities to offset the operating costs of sustainment that specifically line with certain regions. The examples are local rail service assistance subsidized with the grants of the carry under authority Railroad Revitalization Regulatory Reform Act of 1976 payment that regional transit authorities in connection with specified operation performed to carry this amount also shall include the indirect receipts for the reduced operating expense assumption and station with the maintenance cost of the imputement of taxes of the direct and contribution government agency clearly identified in the measures. 503, Railway Operating Revenues or Amortization Deferred Transfer over the governmental authorities. The account shall include the amortization applicable amount of the representative cost of the acquisition, additional improvement, the depreciable, the operating property received the federal, state, and municipal authorities. See Instruction 115, Account 783, Deferred Revenues Transfer for the government authorities. 506, Revenue with the property used other than carrier operation account shall include the total revenue derived with the property used other than carrier operation cost of which is inclusible balance sheet with the 737 the property used other than carrying operations. 510, miscellaneous rent income. The account shall include the source of the rent and property of the owner the controlled by the operating carrier is not with the provided with the foregoing actions. The account shall be charged with the cost of maintenance of the property rent if it also spent incidental expenses of the connection with the source property cost of negotiating contract adversing tenants, fees paid, conveyancers, command electors, commissions, and analog items. 512, separately operated property. The account shall include the amounts earned over the terms of the agreement of the contractor, where with the net income the result of the operation of the other properties of other copies have separate corporate assistance to be paid whole in part with the accounting summary of determining an amount with the earned with the company. Accounting company consideration shall be given not only for the operating revenues, operating expenses, but also for the other items of income with the deduction with the effect of the amount. Notes A and B skipped. 513, dividend income. The account shall include the dividends declared from the railway on the other tax income from the which of the property of the accounting company, whether such tracts are owned by the accounting company even the held within the treasury to deposit in the trust and control with the lease. Otherwise, dividends declared shall not be created prior to the actual collection unless the payment is reasonably assured of the past experience or guaranteed anticipated provision. Otherwise, see Note C, Account 708 says interest in the dividend receivable accrual. The guaranteed dividends may include the account if there is a payment reasonably assured. Note A and B not noted. 514, interest account income. The account shall include the interest of the security debentures, stock, other companies' income at the front of the property with the accounting of the company should the security owned with the accounting of the company held with the treasury to deposit the trust or other control throughout the lease. Otherwise, the account shall include the interest of the notes, other evidence of the indebtedness, interest of on the new balances, open account with the other and analogous items include the discount of the short-term note. The interest that will not be accrued unless the payment is reasonably assured of the past experience of the guarantee of the ancestry provision. Otherwise, see Note C, the accounting 708, the interest of the dividend receivable. The option accounting of the company may include each of the year of the accounting of the portion applicable to the feasible period of the amount of the requisite of the extinguishable during the interval between the date of the acquisition and the day of the maturity of the discount of the premium of securities other companies own with the other than short-term note. The amounts less of the credited charge shall be concurrently with the charge credited of the credited current account in which the cost of security of the carrier of the discard on short-term notes shall be disruptive of the equal monthly credits over the terms of the notes. Note A and B and C not noted. 516, the income sinking and other funds of the account shall include the income of the such cash securities other than assets that not include the secretaries the issue of the assumed the accounting company but whole sinking of the other funds. See the 708. Interest in the dividends receivable option accounting of the company may not include each of the year of the accounting portion applicable to official period of the amount requested of the extinguishing during the interval between the date of the acquisition date of the maturity discount premium funded security held and sinking the other funds of the amount with the credit with the charge with the concurrently with the charge then credited the accountant's cost of the securities is carried. 517, release for the premiums of the funded debt. The amount should conclude that during each official year such portion of the premiums of the outstanding funded debt, but this may be the applicable period. See Instruction 513. See instruction 5.3. 5.18, reimbursement received under the contract agreement. The account shall include the amounts received the receivable from the other company's individual representing the whole of the part of the net loss of the accounting company, whether they under term of the agreements of the contract with no obligation subsequent. Reimbursement is a determined diminished amount of the receivable of the accounting company with the consideration to be given not only with operating revenues, operating expenses, but also with other items not of the income deduction with the effect of the amount. 519, miscellaneous items. The account shall include all the items provided with the elsewhere with a properly and credible with the income account during the current year. Among items shall be included the action of the account are cancellation based on the balance sheet of the representative of the unclaimed wages of the voucher accounts were written off the cover of the carriers and the inability to locate the creditor, property sale of the securities carried with the temporary cash investment, priority sale of the land with the transportation property, the non-carrier property, and the security acquired for the investment purposes, profit from the company boundary required to decrease the valuation of allowance contained in the accounting 702 of the market equity securities include the current assets. Gains for extinguishment of the debt with the aggregated material credit with the 570 extraordinary items on approval with the board with the how of the gains for the extinguishment of the debt means of the extinguishment of the debt with excluding debt maturing serially with it made satisfying sinking funding requirements shall be recorded with the account regardless for the amount. 531, railway operating expense of the account shall include the total expense of the cows by the operating shown with the primary expense of the accounts provided with these regulations. 534, expense of the property used other than the carrier operations. The account shall include the depreciation, rent, taxes, other expenses incurred with the property used other than carrier operations. 544, miscellaneous taxes amount shall include the other accruable taxes not provided elsewhere should a tax for the security owned, taxes for the income of the security owned. Alright, 545, separately owned property for the loss of this account shall include the amount of the payable under the term of the agreement for the contract way by the net loss resulting operation of other property for the other companies having separate corporate existing to be paid with the whole and the part of the accounting company with determining the amount of the payable of the accounting company consideration shall be given only on to the operating revenue for the operating expenses, but also the items of the income and deduction with effect of the amount. Notes A and B not noted. 546, interest is funded if the account shall include the concurrent accrual, so the interest of all classes of long-term debt with the principal of which is includable the account 765 funded debt unmaturity 766 equipment obligation 767 and receive the trust or securities 768 debt in default and 769 accounts payable to affiliated companies. Notes A, B, and C not noted. 547. Interest of unfunded debt. The account shall include the interest occurred with the unfunded debt such that the short-term notes are payable to demand with the having maturity dates of the 1 year of the last for the day of the issue. Opening accounts of the insurer, including the discount expense of the demand short-term loans. Interest for the receipts outstanding installment payment paid with the capital stock. Interest for the deferred payment of the public improvement the listed. Interest for the tax deficiency overcharge claims of the court award. The analogous end items of the discount with the short-term notes of the considerable amount should be distributed throughout equal amounts charged over the term of the notes. Note not noted. 548. Alright, amortization of the discount funding of the debt of this account should be during each financial year of the proportion of the discount funded debt with the obligation applicable to that period. The proportion shall be determined according to the rule of the uniform application through the interval between the day of the sale of the day of the maturity extinguishing the discount of the funded debt. The charge shall the account with the period of either greater or the less of the portion balance remaining amortized all public applicable the period so long as the portion of the discount remains unextinguished. However, the entire amount of the discount expense applicable to a particular issue of obligations may be charged directly to the account at the time of the issue of the aggregated over such amount that does not applicably affect the account. See instruction 53B. 549, maintenance of the investment organization accounting shall include the directly assignment of the administrative expense of the accounting company which instances in the investment at least the non-operating physical property, stock and bonds, and other securities items, expense, advertising, annual report, leaser of the companies only with the copy call for the bonds according to the singular funding of the provision of the mortgage director fees, printing and filing dividend checks, publishing manual annual reporting order, corporate statements, and shareholder publishing notice of the declaration of the dividends, law expense, office expense, salaries, officers and clerks, attendance, stationery, and printing. Alright, 550, income transferred under the contract agreement of this account shall include the whole and any of the portion income of the account company payable within another company under the terms of the agreement of the contract without with the obligation of the reimbursement, and the term of the amount will pay with the accounting company with account consideration with not only with the operating revenues operating with expenses but also the other times of the income deduction with effect with the amount. 551, miscellaneous income charge of the account shall include the items not otherwise provided in the other income accounts. This includes income tax interest for the accounting with the company funding the debt with the tax for the assumed with the company payments for the old the accounts previously written off the penalties final with violation of Interstate Commerce Act with the other federal state laws, local sales, security, counter the temporary cash investment, loss of sales of land used in the transportation purpose of non-carrier property, loss of sales security acquired for the investment purpose of charges the write down the ledger value of the securities because of the improper value, loss of the company board required to increase the valuation along with the contained with the account with the 702 of the market equity security included with the current upside. Unrealized holding gains laid in the trading type of the investment securities, contribution, charitable, social, community welfare purpose of the not in direct relation and protection of the community property developing over the business welfare of the employees, loss of the extinguishment of the debt which aggravated the material charge of the account 570 extraordinary items not upon approval of the board, however the loss of the extinguishment of the debt with assuming the debt material serially which remains satisfying sinking the funds requirements shall include the account regardless of the amount of contributions of the charitable social communication community welfare purpose of the direct relationship of the protection of the company property developed over this business and welfare of the employees should be charged to account 6199 other expenses general administrative other. Alright, 553. Unaccountable account of the account shall include the loss of receivable notes and claims that are not includable in account 636100. General uncountable accounts and general administration. Alright, 55. Unusual, infrequent items. Debt with the credit of the account shall include the material of the unusual nature, infrequent occurrence of not both account with the current year of the accordance with the tax of the instruction 1-2D with the approval of the board. 556. Income tax, the ordinary income of the account shall include the accrual of the federal, state, and other income tax, the appropriate applicable to the ordinary income of the state of the account 590. Recording other tax consequences. 557. Provision of deferred tax account shall include the net tax effect of the material time difference for the C definition 17E with the originating revising current accounting period virtue tax benefits loss carry forward recognize according to the instruction 110 of the amount of account shall include the credit for the urbanization investment of the tax credit of the carrier elected to use the deferred method accounting for the investment tax credits the election second instruction 110. 560. Income loss for the operation discounted segments for the account shall include the result of the operation segment of the business C definition 32A with the given effect of the income tax consequence of the effect that has been discontinued in accordance with the tax instruction 1-2D and upon approval of the board. 562. Gain loss of this proposal of the discontinued segment of the account shall include the gain loss of the disposal segment of the business and given the effect of the income tax consequence according to text instruction 1-2D with the approval of the board. 570. Extraordinary items net the account shall include the extraordinaries and accounted for during the current accounting year in accordance with the text instruction 1-2D with the submission letter of the carrier of the independent accounts providing otherwise accommodating the item upon approval of the board. This account shall be maintained in a manner sufficient to identify the nature gross amount with each of the debit and credit. Income tax consequence charge of the credits of account which shall be recorded in account 590. Income tax extraordinary items account 591 provision deferred taxes or extraordinary. Alright, 590. Your income tax extraordinary items. The account shall include the establishment income tax for the debit with the credit with the assignable with the aggregated items, both taxable income with the deduction taxable incomes with the accounting purpose with the classified unusual, infrequent, and are recorded in account 570. Extraordinary items in net with the tax effect with any time of the difference caused by the reorganizing items with the provide with the expense of the extraordinary in the different period with determining income taxable income shall include the account 590 provision deferred taxes extraordinary. Alright, 591. Provision of the deferred tax extraordinary items. Account shall include the debit to the credit for the current accounting with the income tax deferred for the currently with the amortization income tax deferred prior to accounting of the period that applicable to the items revenue with the expense that include the account with the 570 extraordinary items net see instruction 110. 592. Cumulative of the checks of change of the accounting principle accounts should be included the cumulative of the effect of the change of the new accounting principle with the given in effect of the income tax consequence in accordance with the instruction 1-2D and upon approval by the board. And then it goes into a form of income tax statements, and it lists the 500 through 592. Or retained earning accounts credit.